it's only fair. Don't you think it's fair?
Yeah.
You're recording.
Yeah, I don't care. All right, hey kids, let's learn more about rational functions.
What's that?
Okay, so we're graphing rational functions, and we want to look at a skill that we visited at the beginning of this chapter. It's important.
Reverse.
If I have something like 3 over x minus 2 plus x minus 4. I'm a bad guy. Plus 1. And I want to graph this guy. I know this guy has a hole, a ha, a va. I've got all that to consider, right? So, horizontal asymptote, holes, vertical asymptotes, domain, y-intercept, x-intercept. That's my concerns for this lesson. Now, you might think that this equation is bottom heavy, but you'd be wrong. Doesn't it say I have to add 2 fractions together? Right? Yeah, it looks like it's bottom heavy because you get more x's on the bottom than I do on the top. But if I get a common denominator of x minus 2, well, let's see, this first bottom doesn't need it, but the second bottom does. But if I give it to the bottom, I got to give it to the top, don't I? And that becomes 3 plus 1 times x minus 2 over x minus 2, which then simplifies to 3 plus x minus 2 over x minus 2, which becomes x plus 1 over x minus 2. So this is really the equation that I'm going to be graphing. All right? Be careful. If you have 2 fractions added right here, you have to actually add them using the skills we learned in this previous chapter to do so. All right. So now that I've combined like terms to create a single fraction, what am I doing? Sorry, kids. Now that I've combined the 2 fractions to make a single fraction, I can now focus on that in the way that we did in yesterday's 22-minute marathon. All right, folks, would you agree the degrees are equal degree? They're both 1 and 1, right? Since that's the case, the horizontal asymptote is y equals 1. I can't factor the top, I can't factor the bottom, nothing cancels. There are no holes. Okay? The vertical asymptote is anything that makes the bottom 0 that didn't get canceled. Well, x equals 2 would make the bottom 0, and it didn't get canceled, so my vertical asymptote is 2. My domain will be from negative infinity to 2, parenthesis, yen, 2, comma, infinity. My y-intercept. To find my y-intercept, I'm going to plug 0 in for y. For x, I get 0 plus 1 over 0 minus 2, so negative a half. I have a y-intercept of 0, comma, negative a half. And then lastly, to find an x-intercept, I know I plug 0 in for x, for y, and I solve for x. And I get this equation. Cross multiplying to get that x out of the bottom, I get, well, 0 times anything is 0 equals x plus 1. So x equals negative 1 is where my x-intercept is. So I'm going to have an x-intercept at negative 1, comma, 0. Now that I've done this, I'm ready to draw my graph. Horizontal asymptote at 1. Vertical asymptote at 2. I've got a y-intercept of 0, negative a half, so I'm going to go over 0, down a half. And the x-intercept is negative 1, comma 0, negative 1, comma 0. Now it's time to draw the branches. Well, again, I've got 2 points on the left side of the vertical asymptote on the bottom, so I come in, I draw. Remember, have you hugged your asymptote today? So you do that. And now I'm going to do the right side of the vertical asymptote, but I don't have any special points on the right side of this vertical asymptote, so I have to develop my own points by picking just some random variable for x, plugging it in to the equation, and seeing what y is. Well, let's see what I can choose. I'm going to pick 3. Y equals 3 plus 1 over 3 minus 2 is, but golly, that looks like 4 over 1, so 4. So when x is 3, y is 4 is a point on my graph. So I'm going to go over 3 and up 4. Oh, since that point's up there, would you agree? I know that my branch on the right has to be in this upper portion. Hugging my asymptote, I come in and go to the other asymptote, and there's your graph. Okay? Ladies and gentlemen, I think the moral of the story is if you have two expressions added or subtracted, you actually have to combine them into a single fraction before you can do your horizontal asymptotes, vertical asymptotes, and whatnot. Okay? So, word of advice, be careful out there. It's a crazy world we live in. Yeah? Remember, day by day, no mañanas.